Not for me, not for you, not for us, as we were told growing up. Defined by our gender, it was not our place. Never will it be, they said, and are still saying, even as the world evolves.
My name's Jennifer Lee, and a lot of my research is around marginalisation in science. And this film is about raising the visibility of Black women in chemistry, in science, and in science communication. There still needs to be an awful lot of change in research culture to get rid of the discrimination that marginalised groups feel in science. Even though they're early career, or whether they're from the global south, or whether they're from the UK, wherever they are, there is a place for them and room for them within the chemistry and within the scientific community.
In late 2019, a group of supramolecular chemists and I launched WISC, the International Women in Supramolecular Chemistry Network. WISC take an intersectional approach, which involves not just looking at gender, but including all aspects of people's intersecting identities and making sure that all their voices are heard. We embed expertise from EDI, that's equity or equality, diversity and inclusion practices, and use a creative and reflective approach to build community and raise awareness of the lived experiences of marginalised groups.
And through sharing our stories and discussing things, we managed to push each other forwards. And then more and more people wanted to get involved when they heard about what we were doing. Things like how to form networks, how to manage your social media profile, how to find mentors, trying, in my view, to solve all problems of marginalisation within chemistry or within STEM is far too big a task for one individual to do all by themselves.
We heard about EFEMS, Empowering Female Minds in STEM, and their founder, Dr. Anna Ampel, who wanted to support women studying and working in science across Africa. We reached out to see if the model that we'd developed within WISC could help Anna and raise the visibility of Black women in science and science communication.
WISC has been very, very helpful with the development of EFEMS. After one meeting, they were very, very supportive to the point where they helped us with funding. We teamed up with them to do an ambassador program where we took an applicant so that we could send them to the University of Kent to get more training in science communication and also in the science lab. So I think that was really great to give two African women the opportunity to gain more experience under the supervision of a woman PI and also to gain mentorship.
Ewerisi Manful from Ghana is studying her Masters in Molecular Biology, and Pinky Mokwena from South Africa is a radio broadcaster who's studying environmental chemistry. They're both already conducting exciting research looking at the functions of different drugs and improving the quality of water that's making people sick. The Royal Society of Chemistry and the University of Kent funded these two WISC EFAMS ambassadors to visit the university and spend time in the labs and network.
I think the networks have been great on both like a personal and a professional level, but getting to endorse each other and say, hey, you're right, being reviewed by your peers who are from different contexts amplifies the value of the work and its contribution to society globally.
They also took part in a live panel event hosted by the TV station KMTV and talked about their experiences in science as women in Africa, and to highlight the need for visibility and representation in science communication and outreach.
My name is Mariam, and I'm joined by Pinky Mokwena and Ewerisi Manful, who have joined us here in the UK today and will be sharing some of their stories.
I believe anybody at all can do science. It's just you knowing that this is where you're going. I need to stay focused, work hard, and get there. Because if people are doing so well, why can't I do same? And I think those of us that we are already in the system can maybe create content like how a typical day of a scientist look like, how to even study science as a subject, and the likes. And I believe in doing so, we sort of encourage people more or attract people to science. Yeah.
I remember being in high school and some of the teachers, our maths teacher was a man who was big and burly and he would always say women should not be in science because you guys fall pregnant and have babies and abandon the work. And so there was initially, I think that was the first struggle that I encountered personally, and I was like, what? But my other teacher, my physical science teacher, said I should do this, and she's a woman. And so already it started first with the gender disparities in science in school, how he would invest a lot in the boys.
The KMTV team and I then travelled with Pinky and Iwerisi to the University of Ghana in the capital city of Accra, so we could support EFEMS as they led their first in-person boot camp and support the ambassadors to share their experiences and lead a creative workshop for all of the participants.
Partnering with WISC, the main heart and mind behind it was, man, how do we decentralize the exclusivity of science?
We have gathered women that are in different STEM fields, and we're teaching them professional development workshops that would benefit them in their careers. It's been really great to see African women in STEM come together and support each other, and also network and build this family and sisterhood so that they can encourage each other. We've had other women in STEM that have also come and speak at the workshop, and they have been great role models to our students, specifically to show that you can be a woman in STEM and advance in your career and also have a family. So that's one take home that we've all, learned, that, you can do both and there are no limitations.
The women attending the bootcamp told us about their experiences within science and their passion to be visible role models for others.
The barriers we face as women in science are mostly the challenges of being a wife, a mother, and a working parent. You have to look at this in totality. How to merge the three. You have to be a good mom, be a good wife, be good at your workplace. So bridging them all in also have an impact on you as an individual, and I wouldn't deny that it's a big job or a tough one.
One thing I learned here is to be myself. Being in science has been one of the amazing, even though it has come with its setbacks and its experiences and all, but I've learned to bag all those up and then still move forward, and then also to encourage other people and let them know that we can do everything. And I'm so happy that EFEMS was able to give me this exposure.
I've really learned a lot from problem solving, how to bridge the gap, how to be able to identify and meet the needs of the people, and also social change as well. And I've also been able to network and be encouraged by a network of growing young women who are so passionate for STEM. My take home is that it's possible to do science, be the woman you want to be, make the family you want to, and yes, everything else.
I know, coming from an African background, my parents were always very supportive of what I was doing. But I've heard a lot of stories where some women want to go into STEM, and specifically African women, and the people around them are, kind of discouraging them or telling them that, oh, well, if you pursue a graduate school or if you go into medicine, how are you going to have a family? I think that that has really been engraved into our minds. And so I think one of the main barriers that we're fighting is just a battle amongst ourselves, right? Or a battle amongst the ideology and the traditions of our culture.
In my research, I've seen these same challenges around being a mother and the lack of representation within science in the West. But there are also different cultural and societal barriers for scientists in Africa.
Science can be expensive. We don't have the kind of support in terms of funding and other resources that are necessary to do good science around here. It's very difficult. Funding opportunities generally go disproportionately to men, right? And so you can imagine that being in this environment, even if I had a good idea, you put it down as a proposal, where to even submit it? So now we need partnerships. We collaborate in order to be able to get our proposals out there, but it's very difficult to get funding for the kind of research that is required. We need to project the underrepresentation. When you look in the crowd and you only see the young men, you don't see the young ladies, doesn't it bother you? We have data to show this. Are you not aware of it? And so we need to find ways of exposing what the problem is and explaining to a wider group of people. And that is where the work you're doing is important, because you are showing what it really is, so that we can now start doing the hard work of making things different. I'm looking forward to a time where we don't even have to have this kind of conversation. It's not a big deal because everybody is included. That is the target.
There are also cultural barriers where we are in a society where I believe that we can do more to build scientific thinking in our choices and behavior. And also in the area of public policy making, where we can use evidence-based approaches to make a difference. So scientists also have this challenge of reaching policymakers and reaching members of the public with their research findings. Encouraging more women in science means that we are tapping more into our human resource base. Everybody who is part of the society gets to contribute to our development efforts. which really has to be driven by science and technology. So I see that as a way of strategically helping the country to advance. I mean, that's primarily the reason why I support women in STEM activities.
What I didn't really have when I was growing up is having a lot more female influence telling me, yes, this is right, this, you can do this, you can move this way, and so on and so forth. Early on, when you get young girls to believe in themselves and to be confident that the brain they have doesn't end with childbirth, but moves beyond that, they can do anything that they set their minds to. I can't tell you how honored I feel to have, in my lifetime, the first female vice chancellor in the University of Ghana. For me, it is absolutely empowering. And in the 1 year that she's been in office, the amount of things she's done feels like she's been in office for 4 years. Letting these young women see other women who have been able to get to where they are and showing them how they got there. If there's a will, there's definitely a way. So we have to let them believe in that will so that they find their own way.
The eFEMS bootcamp was only the beginning of the opportunities and collaboration that is needed. Pinky is now even coming to the University of Kent to do a PhD as a direct result of being a WISC and eFEMS ambassador. Pinky and Awurisi are two of many women in Africa who are set to have long and successful scientific careers.